Over the last 7 days, I watched almost every single film in the Halloween franchise, and what I want to do today is rank them and make my definitive list for the series. Now, when I say almost, I did not include the Rob Zombie films, and that was not intentional. I was planning on starting these. I was actually 10 minutes into watching Halloween, and then it dawned on me, there's an unrated cut of this, isn't there? And I went down a rabbit trail, and then I realized there were unrated cuts that didn't exist on digital, and so one thing led to another. I'm on eBay. I bought the Blu-rays of both of these films so that I can watch them in the unrated cuts, which I have not seen. I hate myself, but here we are. So I'm not going to include these. I might add in the comments where I rank them in the full list if you care. But from memory, I don't think they'll be high on the list, so I don't think it'll be that consequential regardless. But I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into this. I'm kind of making this up as I go, so hopefully this works. But I think what I want to do is I want to go worst to best. I'm going to go and remove these for now. Sorry, Rob Zombie. I love you. I'm going to remove those just to remove the clutter. So right now they're ordered just based on when they came out in the release order. And so I'm going to jumble this up here and order it from worst to best here. So starting with what I think is the worst film in the series, it has to be Resurrection. Resurrection, that movie was awful. This was the definition of they had us in the first half. Literally the opening first 15 minutes of this movie absolutely rule. The way that they set up Laurie is so badass, and then they just destroy all of that and go in a totally different direction. It's mind-boggling that they did that. It's like the biggest tease and then just the biggest letdown for the remainder of the movie. I did not enjoy this movie at all. The reason I give it 2 stars as opposed to lower is because expectations play a lot with this film. If you go into it and embrace the dated nature of the film, the tone of the film, and what they're really going for, you can enjoy it. You can have fun with Busta Rhymes doing karate moves and drop kicking Michael Myers out of a 2-story window. If you're not expecting that, you're not going to like it. But if you really embrace the stupidity of it and just the goofiness, you can have some fun with it. So I don't want to write this one off completely, but it's not going to be one that I'm going to rewatch a lot. I do love seeing Thomas Ian Nichols in anything. Massive American Pie fan. Loves Rookie of the Year. Dude's a legend. So it was always fun. It's always fun seeing him pop up in things. And as soon as you see him, you know you're in the early 2000s. But yeah, regardless, Halloween Resurrections is very far at the bottom. This is where it's going to get difficult because 4, 5, and 6, very interchangeable. Honestly, like I would struggle to explain the difference between these films. I think I'm going to put Halloween 6 at the bottom, and here is why. So I watched this film twice. I watched it back to back. I watched the regular theatrical cut, and then I immediately watched the producer's cut afterwards. Don't ask me why. My curiosity got the better of me, and I had to do it. I do want to say, with all these films, I love all of them. I have fun with all of them. I'm going to watch these films for the rest of my life. They're just atmospheric. They're so Halloween coded. I just love them. So when I'm knocking on these films, just know I still love them. I still enjoy them. I'm just rating them based on what's a good movie and what's not. And I don't think The Curse of Michael Myers is necessarily a good movie. It plays with some interesting ideas. I honestly don't hate what they're doing with the cult stuff. I think it fails more due to execution than the whole concept of the idea. All in all, I still just prefer the shape Michael Myers as opposed to the cult puppet. I just like him being this entity of random evil as opposed to, the cult stuff. So even though I don't prefer it, I don't hate that they're doing it. They get an E for effort, but it doesn't really play that well. Okay, this is really hard here because I really don't remember the difference between these. I just watched these like the other day. I'm going to put 5 right here. I'm going to put it right there because I think from memory it was almost identical to 4. Like almost identical, but just a little worse, I guess. Just a little bit. I do remember there was one scene in here where these 2 cops, like they're investigating like a disturbance or something, and they walk onto the screen, and this goofy ass like slide whistle music starts playing as they walk up, and it's so weird and jarring. It's the only moment like that in the entire movie. This is not a goofy movie. This is not like Resurrections. If that happened in Resurrections, if like a slide whistle followed Busta Rhymes around while he's doing karate, like I would have been fine with that. I would have accepted that. But that's not the case in this movie. So that stuck out of my head so much. But
all clear.
Nothing above, nothing below.
That's what we're here for.
Rescue cats.
Find dogs.
That's a job.
And we love it.
beyond that, I really don't remember much besides Michael Myers' mask in this film, which is very Nicolas Cage and very odd. But let's just keep going here with Halloween 4. Again, very, very, very similar. But like with all these, I have fun watching them. I think this one really has a great atmosphere to it. They all are very seasonal, but this one especially has a great fall Halloween atmosphere. But, you know, I watched this one, you know, obviously after watching 1 and then watching 2 and then 3. But obviously, shocker, I watched 1, 2, 3, and 4. But no, just off the tails of 1 and 2, this is the continuation of the Michael Myers story. It's really challenging because it's such a step down. All the stuff with him just wasn't that great, and all the lore stuff they tried to establish with his niece, it just didn't work. And again, it kind of falls on the same, it kind of fails in the same way that 6 does, in the sense that I don't hate any of this in concept. It's more so the execution and the way that it's done. It just felt weird and just half-baked, and I don't know. So again, it's more execution than conception with a lot of this stuff. But I feel pretty good about this right here. Now, this is where it's going to get a little bit more difficult because I generally like pretty much all of the rest of these films here. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this right as it is right here, and I'm going to add Halloween Ends right here. So I just watched this film last night. This is one of those films where it's like I'll continue to watch forever because it kind of has the Batman vs Superman effect, in the sense that it's really doing something very different, and maybe there's something there to glean with rewatches. After watching this like within the same day or two of Halloween, the 2018 version, and Halloween Kills, the loss of momentum really hurts this film. You know, at least when you watch them all together. If you watch on your own, I could see it being a better experience. But 1 and 2, Halloween, 2018 and Halloween Kills, go together very well and build Michael Myers up to be this unstoppable monster. And then you have this film, quote unquote, ending things by undoing all of that. Laurie literally says at the end, like, you're just a guy. You're not a monster. And I was looking at my TV. I was like, what? I was like, I thought we just spent nearly 3 movies proving that he was in fact a monster, that he was this shape, but not only that the entity is even bigger than him. But then he's just, it's just all dashed. I don't know. I don't hate this film. I want to make that clear. It just does not flow with the already established idea that they were experimenting with. And it just feels, again, very half-baked and only partially executed. By the end, I just totally felt like I was missing something, and the film just drifts away from itself. The first 2/3 of the film are just building towards something that just does not. It just fades away as the movie ends. In hindsight, I think they either should have had this film happen right after Kills, or just end with Kills. Like, if you create a more conclusive ending, or maybe even not, you could just have a solid 2-parter on your hands. Again, those ideas may be garbage. I'm not saying I'm not a writer. I'm not saying those are good ideas. But the point is, I think something should have been different. Either totally different, or just at least fully commit to the idea that they was trying to explore. And yeah, I don't know. Okay, moving on to, this is going to be between Halloween H2O and Season of the Witch. I am going to put Halloween H2O right down here. I liked this film. I liked this a lot. It's incredible, actually, how similar it is to Halloween 2018. Like seriously, like if you look at it, like it's amazing that they actually even did Halloween 2018, because it's really very much the same story. You know, there's obviously differences, but the skeleton of the story is more or less the same. But I think this is very much solid, and it's a much needed improvement on what came before it. Like the whole saga here, like I think this one is a much needed improvement. I think what it loses in fall, cozy Halloween vibes, which it definitely loses a lot of that, it gains in a better story and the return of Jamie Lee Curtis, which is great. Like it feels more like Halloween having her in the story, at least in some way, shape or form. Let's see. Next, I'm going to go Season of the Witch. These could be interchangeable here, but I think I'm going to go Season of the Witch next. This was my first time watching this one. Very interesting. Very interesting departure from the first two films, and I really like it. I totally get why this didn't work at the time. I know they had to have the Halloween name on there in order to get it made and make that transition into anthology, but I think they really, really should have explained to the audience that this was anthology, because I could totally see myself going into the theater expecting to see Michael Myers, and then he just never shows up and it's a totally different thing. Like, you can't expect for people to not be a little bummed out by that. But if in isolation, as an anthology, as a new story, very, very cool. And I think in a different universe, I think it would have been really cool to see them do more anthology, to do more Halloween stories not connected, you know, to the Skywalker saga, right? The Michael Myers saga, like just do other stories. I think that would have been really, really cool. And I hate that we didn't get that and everything just went tied back to Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. But I love that they tried this, and I think it's really, really cool. And I think it has a lot of great stuff. I could see myself rewatching this one fairly often as time goes on. All right, top four here. Let's get to the top four. Number 4 is going to be Halloween. 2018's Halloween. Now, I go back and forth on this one. I liked this less last year when I watched it, but this year when I watch it, I liked it a little bit more. I think I will forever go back and forth on this movie because there is so much cool shit in it, and there's so much I love about it. But simultaneously, this movie also just somehow misses what made the first films great. And that's okay. I mean, I would say nearly all of the other sequels do that as well. So it's not like I'm just picking on this film, in isolation. It messes up in a lot of the same ways these other films do. But when it succeeds very, very well. But I really got to say, there is some great stuff in there. Some really, really great stuff. And it's not only one of the better films of the franchise, but it's also very rewatchable, I think. Like, it's a little bit slow when getting started, but I don't know. It's really great, and it's a fun watch, but something just feels off, and I don't know what it is. It's a great companion piece to Kills. Like, truly, like when you watch it with Kills, like, it's a much better watch. I just think these films are essentially one big movie. But yeah, I don't know. Something's just off about this that keeps me from loving it more. But I will say the best thing about this film, and probably the best thing about the entire franchise, is in this film and Kills as well, and that is the soundtrack. The composition, the music, the score. Holy cow. John Carpenter and his son, I think Cody Carpenter, I think that's his name, absolutely knock it out of the park. It is so good. The music in this is amazing. When it hits that electric guitar synth and just blast your speakers, I could just levitate through the ceiling whenever it does that. I wish it did that more throughout these films, but it's absolutely great. That's one thing that I think Halloween Ends really failed on, the music. Like, the music did not live up to Halloween or Halloween Kills. I don't even remember the music in this as much as I do in these films, but damn, the music in this is so, so good. All right, top 3. We got Halloween, Halloween 2, and then Halloween Kills. You know what? I'm gonna do something a little crazy here. I'm gonna put Halloween 2 next. I might regret doing this, but I'm gonna do this right now just because I'm feeling it. This is what I'm feeling. This movie is a fantastic follow-up that more than justifies its own existence. It really amps up the slasher aspects of the first film while adding a great new location of a hospital. It's just awesome. While I love the first film more as a movie, I think this one is very rewatchable. And I think throughout my life, I've watched this one the most, just because there's more action. It immediately throws you into the action. There's no ramp up time. You're just right into it. And I think that's what really helps this film, is that I would be more likely to throw this one on at like a Halloween party than I would the original Halloween, just because this one will keep people entertained more. Also, I watched this with the director's commentary with Rick Rosenthal, and that was cool. That was solid. It's not the most interesting watch, but if you've already seen the film a few times, like I have, it's definitely worth checking out. All right, top 2 here. I don't think this is going to be a surprise for anybody, but coming in at second is going to be Halloween Kills. I can't dethrone Halloween. Halloween is the greatest horror slasher of all time, in my opinion, and it can't be moved here. But the biggest surprise to me for this year is Halloween Kills being in second place. Honestly, I thought it was going to be way down here, but wow. I rewatched this one the other day. I got the 4K disc of it, and so I watched it. It had the sound all the way up. This movie absolutely rules. The best opening half of any Halloween film. I stand by that. It is electric, it's shocking, it's nostalgic, and it is insanely grisly. I mean, this film is easily the most violent and gory of any of the films in the series. It is so graphic, it honestly borders on being mean-spirited. But from the flashback scene to the firefighter fight to Michael raiding Haddonfield, it is nonstop in the best way possible. Now, in the past, this movie started to lose me, as I think it does with most people, when the whole Evil Dies Tonight train really gets rolling. And while I think it does overplay its hand a bit with how much that is needed in the film, I pretty much did a 180 on it this time, as well as with the entire film. I really found it much more tolerable, much less intrusive, and way easier to watch than I remember. It could be time. It just could be watching it right after the first film, which I think really, really helps. I don't know what it is, but everything in this film worked infinitely better for me on a rewatch. Again, I think the 2018 film and this work really best watched together. Like watching them back to back, I think is the ultimate way to watch it. Because where the part 1 gets slow, this one speeds up. Where the first one lacks, this one adds. Like they really complement each other so well in basically every way. And I like this film. I think this has the Halloween 2 effect, interestingly enough, in the sense that I will rewatch these way more than I'll rewatch the former. I just think these are, they capture the Halloween essence, they capture the vibes I'm looking for, but they also are just wildly entertaining and just go 100 miles an hour and just let you just soak into the films and just sink into them. So I think that I'm happy with Halloween Kills in second place there. But now we get on to first place with Halloween here. This movie's just magnificent. It is so scary, man. It feels so real. Laurie's response and protective panic is just so fantastic. You add Carpenter's incredible cinematography, score, use of lighting, the darkness and the shadows just create some of the most terrifying shots ever. This it's said ad nauseum, but this is such a template for every slasher film to follow, and it will always be the best to me. The thing that stuck out to me the most this time when watching this film, though, is in a way how Lynchian this film captures normal suburban life being corrupted by something eerie, something dark, or excuse, I guess I should say weird, because it comes from the outside in, something weird, dark, and twisted. This is very much the Blue Velvet of slasher flicks, which never occurred to me before, but I watched Blue Velvet twice earlier this year, so I guess it's just at top of mind. But that was something I never noticed before, but I really, really loved that aspect this time. But, I mentioned the shadows and reflections and stuff like that. Like, I was watching the new 4K disc from Scream Factory, and wow, what a presentation. Like, I noticed stuff I never saw before, like reflections in glass or stuff in shadows. Like, the crystal clear picture was just absolutely amazing. I watched the first half with the commentary, and then I switched over to the Dolby Atmos track. It was the commentary with John Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis, which I thought would be just awesome. Like I was really excited to listening to it, but wow, that was dull. And I hate to be rude, but I mean, that was so boring and dull. It was sweet and endearing at first, listening to them banter, but I got to the point where they were just talking about craft services and whatever, and it was just, they had nothing interesting to say. They were just talking about just the most boring things possible. And I feel so bad for saying that, but it was just not interesting. So I switched back to the Dolby Atmos mix, and it is a phenomenal choice. Absolutely great mix. Very subtle, but solid improvements. Okay, so there we have it. This is my ranking for the Halloween films, not including the Rob Zombie films. Again, if I watch them in the next few days, I'll add in the comments where I would rank them in this list. But let me know what you guys think of my ranking. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know if I'm nuts for having Halloween Kills all the way so high up in the list. Let me know if I'm wrong about Resurrections. Let me know your thoughts. I'm really, really excited to hear. But I also really want to hear your ranking. If you've got your ranking, drop it in the comments below. Or more importantly, drop me your Letterboxd. If you've got a list like this, feel free to copy my list as I did. You can see I copied my list from someone over here. Feel free and copy my list and rearrange it, make your own. Like I love this franchise deeply, and I'm so curious to see what rankings everybody else has. But that's all I got. I hope y'all have a fantastic Halloween. I hope y'all eat a lot of candy and watch a lot of spooky movies. Hell, throw on Halloween Kills. Give it another shot. You might be surprised. I implore you to give it another shot. I think you'll enjoy it.